Here's your wrestling news for April 3rd, 2021. And if you like what you're watching, smash that like button and give us 1,000 likes or more. And your headlines for today include: first look at construction of WWE WrestleMania stage. WWE reveals complete list of banned words through internal WrestleMania documents. Daniel Bryan stands tall on SmackDown, but what is his fate at WrestleMania 37? Indie wrestler sentenced to almost 2 years in prison for going too far in a match. Another former WWE superstar returning to the company. AEW not using star due to backstage heat with coaches. WWE confirms Chris Jericho for Steve Austin's Broken Skull sessions. How Steve Austin made this possible, Triple H reacts. Another WWE Hall of Famer missing ceremony. Paige working to get cleared for in-ring return. John Cena sends video to boy who used his tips to save his sister. Lio Rush calls out WWE for budget cuts after Logan Paul gets private jet. WWE star receiving praise from WWE's higher-ups, including Vince McMahon after the match, and more. We're kicking off with WrestleMania 37 as night one of WWE's first event in over a year with live fans is now just 1 week away. Unsurprisingly, WWE is going all out to make this a special event, and thanks to aerial footage, fans can see the current progress for the WrestleMania stage. This will be far bigger than what we're used to in the Thunderdome, and it's being reported that the proposed pirate ship is in a section of seats that WWE aren't selling. In the past, Kevin Owens has said that he really wants to jump off that pirate ship, and perhaps the prizefighter will get his wish a year after he planned to jump off the ship at WrestleMania 36. WrestleMania will bring a lot of international attention to WWE, and that's something the company knows very well. As a publicly traded company, the WWE strives to maintain a family-friendly image, and that's why WWE has issued a list of words that can never be used by their promotional partners, according to Fightful. The list of words range from obvious ones like kill and murder to more insider lingo such as babyface, heel, jobber, house show, and card. Seth Rollins' finisher, the curb stomp, won't be mentioned in any promotional material either, nor will Paige's nickname as the Anti-Diva. In fact, the term diva has been blacklisted by WWE in stark contrast to what the company said just a decade ago. You can pause the video now to check out the full list of words that you won't be hearing next week. We'll have to see if terms get used, but WWE are working very hard to make sure they don't. And do you think the words should be allowed? Let us know in the comments. One name you'll hear plenty of at WrestleMania is Daniel Bryan, who will challenge for the Universal title against champion Roman Reigns and Edge. SmackDown opened up with Edge fully back in his heel roots, who said that he wouldn't be sad if Bryan got taken out of the WrestleMania match in the street fight against Jey Uso that took place later in the show. Instead, Bryan won that match, and it was an entertaining one to say the least, though a commercial break did limit the amount fans saw. Not only did Bryan win, but he also took out Edge and Roman Reigns, though we can't shake the feeling that this dominance only means he won't leave WrestleMania as Universal Champion. Whilst this story has a similar feeling to WrestleMania 30 in that Bryan's legitimacy as a main eventer is being questioned, this dominance last night makes us feel like it'll be Edge or Reigns who stand tall next week. In fact, we wouldn't be surprised if Bryan takes the fall at WrestleMania, but the fact that he's in the main event at all is still a huge win for the Yes Movement leader. SmackDown also saw Shayna Baszler in action, and after taking yet another loss, we have to wonder if there's some beef between her and SmackDown's creative team. Once an undisputed ass-kicker in NXT and biting the neck of Becky Lynch, Baszler took another pinfall loss last night, and we can only hope that the Queen of Spades one day gets to win matches again. The world of professional wrestling can be a very unpredictable one, and this week, a British indie wrestler learned that firsthand. As reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, UK wrestler James Riley has been convicted of going too far in his attack on Rob Wilson during a February 2020 match, leading to Riley being sentenced to 21 months in prison. Riley and Wilson had little time to prepare for the match, as it only happened because another wrestler no-showed the event, and during the match, Riley kicked Wilson square in the face but told Wilson to continue the match. Saying he was dazed and on autopilot for the rest of the match, Wilson had to undergo surgery for bone fractures in his face, and the match was recorded by fans and shared with the police. Police added that the attack went beyond anything appropriate for a wrestling show, and Riley has been issued a restraining order to have no contact with Wilson for 10 years, saying the victim was left with significant injuries that had a lasting effect. This case happened in the UK, but it could happen in the US under the right circumstances, and perhaps wrestlers will be more careful not to go too far from now on. Next week, fans will see the British Bulldog be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and that's not the only big news for the family of Davey Boy Smith. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it's reported that Bulldog's son, Davey Boy Smith Jr., isn't scheduled for the April 8th Bloodsport event, a strong indicator that he'll be kept busy as a full-time WWE superstar. It's also noted that there were talks of him going back a year or so ago, though that was derailed, and he's expected to be one of the focal points of NXT UK. It's been 10 years since Smith Jr. last worked in WWE, and he's done a lot since then, and we'll have to see if the former Unified Tag Team Champion addresses his own future during his father's posthumous induction next week. Over to AEW, and if you've noticed that Ivelisse hasn't been used in a few weeks, there's a reason why. The Wrestling Observer newsletter is reporting that Ivelisse has had issues with some of AEW's coaches, and that's the reason she isn't being booked right now. Before this heat, Ivelisse was teaming with Diamante, but that isn't happening anymore. And while she's not gone from the company yet, the future doesn't look bright for the 33-year-old wrestler. Yesterday, we covered how WWE used Chris Jericho's music to tease something big featuring Stone Cold Steve Austin, and the company certainly delivered. It's been confirmed by WWE that Jericho will be the latest guest on the Broken Skull Sessions, which will air following Night 2 of WrestleMania 37 on April 11th. Arguably the most shocking name WWE could get, it'll be interesting to see if any questions related to AEW are asked, and knowing Stone Cold, nothing will be off the table. Jericho's last appearance in WWE was at the Greatest Royal Rumble in April 2018, and given how much has changed for him since then, we imagine he'll have plenty to say when he appears on the Broken Skull Sessions. Jericho's return to WWE programming is unexpected to say the least, and fans can thank Stone Cold Steve Austin himself for making it happen. Speaking to Sports Illustrated, the Rattlesnake explained how the interview came about, saying it was Jericho who made the first move after watching Austin's interview with The Undertaker. He added, "We got to talking. I always respected the hell out of his career, and I'm glad they're around. It gives the guys and girls in professional wrestling more places to work. I said, I'd love to have you on the show, and he said he'd love to do it." Obviously, having an AEW star on WWE programming needed to be approved by Vince McMahon, and the chairman, surprisingly, was cool with it. As Austin explained, "I texted Vince and said we had this badass idea about Jericho coming on the show. Vince goes, 'It's cool, go ahead.' But me and Vince don't always do well with phones and texts and all that, so I texted one more time, 'Are you sure it's okay to have Chris Jericho on the show?' Vince gave me the thumbs up." Given their years in WWE and feud from late 2001 to early 2002, Austin and Jericho will have a lot to talk about, and we're wondering how they'll approach Jericho's current employer. One person who knows both Austin and Jericho very well is Triple H, who isn't too surprised by this shocking collaboration between WWE and AEW. Speaking on a conference call to promote NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver, the Game responded to questions about Jericho's return to WWE programming, saying, "We're open for business. We've said it a million times on things. Vince has been very adamant about that. We're open for business, whatever is best for business for WWE, whoever that is." Triple H also refuted preconceived notions regarding Vince McMahon's perception of former WWE superstars, saying many wrestlers have received heartwarming phone calls after leaving the company. He added, "What people believe in their heads when they have zero knowledge of it personally is amazing sometimes. The fantasy world that is created." Outside of getting The Undertaker out of character, Jericho is possibly the most shocking name WWE could have gotten for the Broken Skull Sessions, and perhaps this will lead to more collaborations between WWE and their competition. Would you like to see more collaborations? And if so, who do you want to see open the Forbidden Door next? Sound off in the comments. Next week's WWE Hall of Fame ceremony has already been taped, and we previously reported that the Great Khali won't be there, and he's not the only inductee missing. According to the Wrestling Observer, Jushin Liger, who is a 2020 inductee, won't be appearing at the ceremony, and it's also noted that he didn't record a video for the show. Though we understand how the ongoing travel restrictions may have prevented Liger from being there, it's odd that he'll have no presence at all at the Hall of Fame, and time will tell whether he gets any mention at all during the ceremony. Speaking of the Hall of Fame, William Shatner will be inducted as part of the 2020 class, and he may not be the only celebrity getting the nod. During a commercial for the ceremony, many fans noticed Ozzy Osbourne in the video, and it wouldn't be too surprising if he's announced as the celebrity inductee for the 2021 class. Not only a music legend, Osbourne appeared at WrestleMania 2 to manage the British Bulldogs, and it wouldn't be too surprising if the Lord of Darkness is soon calling himself a Hall of Famer. It's been 3 years since Paige had to retire from wrestling, but the former Divas champion isn't giving up yet. Though Paige recently said she'd be worried about ending up paralyzed if she returns, that isn't stopping her from trying to get cleared, as the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports. She's looking to have another exam in her neck in hopes of being cleared to wrestle again. She's seen Edge, Christian, and Bryan all told that they could never wrestle again, and then all ended up being cleared to return. The report added that Sting also beat retirement, and that all 4 men are far older than her. And would you like to see Paige wrestle again? Let us know in the comments. Yesterday, we covered the story of Cena saving a child's life, and now that Big Match John has heard this story, this is how he reacted.
Now, I'd heard a story about you, and it really touched my heart. A story that in a time of crisis, you were brave enough to take action, and in doing so, you saved your little sister's life. I really want to say thank you for being you, Jackson. Thank you for being an inspiration. Thank you from all of us.
Back to SmackDown, and earlier this week, we reported that Logan Paul wouldn't be present in the Thunderdome for SmackDown, but that clearly wasn't the case. Instead, Paul was physically there as part of Sami Zayn's feud with Kevin Owens, and it turns out WWE went to some extraordinary lengths to make that happen. On Twitter, the YouTuber revealed that WWE sent a private jet to collect him and his friends and bring them to Tampa, with Paul, who turned 26 this week, calling it the coolest birthday gift. One person less impressed was Lio Rush, who replied saying that WWE can afford this but had to release hundreds of people, including himself, last April due to alleged budget cuts. Sami Zayn had a more in-character response, saying he was pleased to see Paul being taken care of, and claimed it took him 6 years before WWE stopped booking him in the middle seats in Coach. Logan Paul will be Zayn's guest of honor for WrestleMania, and we expect he'll be traveling in style to Raymond James Stadium next week. What do you make of WWE bringing Paul in on a private jet, no less? Sound off below. Earlier this week, Roman Reigns called out UFC's Daniel Cormier, saying it would be a quick match between the two, and now Cormier has responded. In a tweet, DC told Reigns to watch his mouth, adding, "I'll dance with the big dog," and after the rumored Cormier-Lesnar match fell through, it seems that Cormier-Reigns could be the company's next big plan. In February, Raw Women's Champion Asuka was put on the injured list thanks to a kick from Shayna Baszler, and now the Empress has had to have surgery to fix it. Thanks to that kick, Asuka lost a tooth during the February 22nd edition of Raw, and the Wrestling Observer newsletter is reporting that the Raw Women's Champion had oral surgery last week. Asuka's injury was pretty tough to watch as, due to it happening on live HD TV, fans saw her actual tooth fly out of her mouth. Now that she's back, Asuka will defend the Raw Women's Championship against Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, and if she wins, she'll be celebrating with a surgically repaired smile. WrestleMania will also see US Champion Riddle face Sheamus, the latter of whom was the subject of WWE's latest Day Of series, which focused on his Fastlane match with Drew McIntyre. The episode showed just how respected the WWE veteran is, as he was praised by many people, including Vince McMahon. Sheamus also showed his softer side when speaking about his career alongside his former tag partner Cesaro, as he said, "I love you, Cesaro, man. I love you, man. I miss you, bro. Miss you. Man, I'm sorry. I love you, man." At one point, it was expected that Sheamus would challenge Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, but that's clearly not happening now. And what do you think WWE should do with Sheamus? Let us know in the comments. Apollo Crews will look to capture his first Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania when he faces Big E, and a unique stipulation has been added to that match. On SmackDown, Crews added some stakes to their Intercontinental title match, challenging Big E to a Nigerian drum fight. This will be the first Nigerian drum fight in WWE history, and though no details have been announced about it, we can only assume it'll involve drums. Since turning heel, Cruz has embraced his Nigerian heritage, including donning the colors of the Nigerian flag, and we'll have to see if the self-proclaimed real African American can become the Intercontinental Champion after next week's Nigerian drum match. Over to Raw, and the final edition of the Red Brand before WrestleMania is coming together. On SmackDown, it was confirmed that SmackDown's King Corbin will face Drew McIntyre, following on from the King's attack last week. WWE Champion Bobby Lashley will face Cedric Alexander in non-title action, whilst Women's Tag Team Champions Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler will face Raw Women's Champion Asuka and Rhea Ripley, also in non-title action. Next week's Raw won't air live, as it'll be pre-taped to give the company more time to focus on WrestleMania, and it'll be interesting to see what's in store for the final Raw before the show of shows. And we're ending today with news from SmackDown, as this week's show saw Seth Rollins and Cesaro continue their feud with some interesting booking. Focusing on the word swing, the pair were obviously alluding to Cesaro's finisher, and whilst this has been a big part of their feud, as Rollins said he'll never be swung again, it's now becoming the only thing in their feud. Both men are incredibly talented, with a list of moves each a mile long, so it's strange that WWE are taking this entire feud and making it about one move. We're not saying the WrestleMania match will be bad by any means, but we're certainly hoping that if WWE is planning on pushing Cesaro, that his new gimmick and subsequent feuds don't revolve around one fairly simple move. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.